Hello, viewers. So, first of all, apologies from our side. We know that you all have been waiting for our review video for Nodir Kul. Um, we actually wanted to jump on this particular track instantly as well, but life happens. We both were totally engaged. Couldn't get time to sit together. We already listened to this track multiple times. Probably discussed one of on our chats as well, but just couldn't find time to sit. But thank you so much once again to all of you who reached out to us, showed their appreciation, and always supporting us. They told us to just review this together as soon as we could, and we are here now. And we could actually not wait because it was again um, Arnob and Ripon, the combination that we listened to in season one. You all know the famous track by now, so we would get started with it. Do you want to add something else?
Yeah, around that topic. So, foreseen and unforeseen uh, life events that has been happening and will be happening in near future. We both are quite busy, and I think the next time we would be able to sit together would be end of June,
Hmm.
right? So apologies in advance, and we would be back by like end of June
Yeah.
in our usual setting, in our
Hmm.
usual flow. But before that, I don't think that we would be able to sit down together to listen to music, right? So we have been missing listening this good amount of music that is coming in,
Yeah.
right? Bangla, Bharat, Tamil, a
A
lot
lot of
of.
music.
As soon as we got busy, like good music started pouring in.
Yeah, that's true. That's what we're saying.
Okay.
All right, so let's
All
get
right.
started
So
with this one then.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Three. Just give me 1 second and let me open the link.
Hmm.
All right. Three, two, one, play.
Coke Studio Bangla, Season 2.
The whole setup of this song is so amazing.
The lighting,
Everything.
especially.
Yeah.
ও নদীর কূলে না কিনার নাই রে আমি কোন কুল হতে কোন কুলে
The
যাব
Bavarian style of singing by Ripon.
কাহারে সুধাই রে আমি কোন কুল হতে কোন কুলে যাব কাহারে সুধাই রে
I love how the keys started subtly here in this particular bit.
নদীর
The
কূলে
best part of this track.
নাই কিনার নাই রে নদীর কূলে নাই কিনার নদীর কূলে
The dynamics of his voice is so amazing.
The keys is working so well.
কিনার নাই রে
Oh, beautiful.
ওপারে মেঘের ঘটা কোন কবি জলি ছটা মাঝে নদী বহে সাই সাই রে ওপারে মেঘের
he's
ঘটা
singing
কোন কবি জলি
with so much
ছটা
innocence.
মাঝে নদী বহে সাই সাই রে আমি এই দেখিলাম সোনার
And
ছবি
suddenly he switches from innocence to helplessness.
Yeah. Right?
আমি এই দেখিলাম সোনার ছবি
you can look at it in his eyes. Totally embodies what he's saying. Beautiful.
There are two players who are playing clarinet. That's really complimentary.
বিষম
so much
নদীর
magic.
পানি ঢেউ করে হানাহানি ভাঙায় তরণী তবু
I love this verse, the part.
বিষম নদীর পানি ঢেউ করে হানাহানি
The poetic genius,
ভাঙায়
yeah.
তরণী তবু বাইরে
Again, the innocence part, right? In his smile, in his eyes. It's like he lives it. And Jalal bhai.
বিষম নদীর পানি ঢেউ করে হানাহানি ভাঙায় তরণী তবু বাইরে বিষম নদীর
clarinet and flute is blended harmoniously.
Oof. They all have similar expressions as we do.
Yeah. Song has a very long outro, but what a beautiful outro it is.
Oh, it leaves you kind of speechless,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Leaves you kind of, you want to sit in silence for a bit.
Yeah.
You know, what just happened is.
I mean, when I listened to this particular track the first time, I kind of had that feeling that we are going to revisit the same magic that we had in Chilte Road. And I fully expected it, and it fulfilled my expectation because of
Yeah.
the composition itself. Also, the poetry. This is the first time, not the first time, I mean, but the poetry itself has hooked me a lot of this particular track. The kind of helplessness one feels throughout the journey called life. Um, the second part, especially the second verse, where there's a small build up and the chorus, not the chorus, the choir is in the back singing the same verses. It always freezes me. Anything after a 6 minute mark in this particular track,
Yeah.
it really makes you sad at the same time, but it also brings some sort of hope, trying to reconnect to the Almighty in some ways, just trying to call the higher power just to assist you. That particular bit after 6 minutes, it always gets me. I don't know why. It's so magically done. Even the poetry, the way it has been composed in this particular track is so beautiful that I cannot really express it in words.
Yeah, so it does forces you to think
Yeah.
how they created this magic,
Hmm.
right? And that's that's the brilliance, right? So you see something, you read something, you see Mona Lisa or picture or some sort of art, right? And it
Hmm.
forces you to not only have those emotions but also think that, okay, how
Hmm.
did they create this?
Hmm.
And I was just thinking that this is such an amazing learning experience for everyone who's watching this
Watching
video,
this, yeah.
right? That you see how this music is created, what element goes into
Hmm.
creating this, how, right? I loved that in the earlier season of Coke Studio Pakistan, they had these monitors all over the place, which were
Hmm.
showing time signature,
Timestamps, yeah. Time signatures.
right? Time signatures, and you could match the time signatures with the beats being
Hmm.
played, and
Hmm.
learning experience.
Hmm.
You see that, okay, how certain musicians would work with that time signature, and how certain artists
Hmm.
would actually completely ignore the time signature and do some improvs.
Yeah. Hmm.
And okay, but here, yeah, watching this video, uh, you are forced to think that his voice, Ripon's voice, for me, when I was hearing this alone, right, I kept thinking that we all recognizes Boga's voice, right? His
Yeah.
the way he performs. But for me, I thought the magic was in the arrangement, in
Of
the
course.
composition, the arrangement, right?
Of
So
course.
I went back in time, and heard the older versions of this track, right? So
Mm-hmm.
previous renditions of this track,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course, I would do that. I do have recency bias toward this one, um, right? Right, but the magic, the actual magic, where you actually get lost,
Mm.
was all in the arrangement.
That's true.
So nothing to take away from Boga, nothing after nothing. We will
Mm.
talk about it, but if this were a completely instrumental version of it,
Yeah.
right? Only instrumental version,
Mm.
and you
Mm.
take out the harmonies and vocals, this would still create that amount
Yeah.
of magic,
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
right? And I mean, clarinet, flute aside, both of them were mainstay of this particular track.
Mm.
But I thought that what kept everything binded, what made everything work together, was the keys.
Mm-hmm.
And the way keys were performed is just brilliant. Everything.
Mm.
I mean, the clarinet, it in itself was beautifully done, right? You take it out, only you wanna hear clarinet only, right?
Mm.
Nothing else.
Mm.
Beautiful, right? Flute, you take everything else and you just wanna hear the flute, beautiful. But when you take
Combine.
everything
Yeah.
together,
Mm.
combine everything to, and all the other percussions, all the other instruments, they were binded so well. The thread, the web
Mm. Mm-hmm.
was created by keys.
Mm. Yeah.
Brilliant. That was just, I kept marveling at how well this has been constructed.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, um, the keys itself were very subtle. Not as you said, they were not the at the forefront, but they were holding the entire arrangement together. It was so um, melancholic for me personally at the same time, but it was also um, really peaceful or calming on some occasions, just listening to the keys playing in the background. And when we talk about the clarinet itself, the artist that is mentioned over here is Idris. I personally haven't heard his work before, but I think he has worked before with Arnob in different tracks. But here, what was brilliant for me, you kept mentioning during multiple tracks that when we listen to choir, you have sopranos, you have altos, tenors, and bass. And here, if you focus the clarinet, there are two people who are playing clarinet. One is Idris, who is at the forefront, but
Hmm.
there's another
Yeah.
guy who is just playing it in the background with a little bassy or with a little low key version
Low,
of.
low on the scale.
Exactly, exactly. And it was so well constructed. I mean, you can just see how beautifully that arrangement, that particular bit of composition has been done. And as you mentioned in the track, if just we pick the instrumental bit of it, it would still, I mean, it will
Hit.
still hit you hard. It will evoke those emotions within you. It has one of the longest outros that we have listened in Coke Studio Bangladesh. I think it's 2.5 minute mark long. But still, I always just close my eyes to listen that particular last bit. Just listen to that
Absolutely.
instrumental that is happening. How
The
beautifully.
outro in itself could be a separate track, and
Yeah,
I would listen to it multiple times, right? I
yeah.
would continuously listen to it. I mean, this is what we have also. I mean, the one thing that comes to my mind is Sheesh of the Nathri,
Hmm.
in which the outro itself
Yes, yeah,
is magical.
yeah.
You take everything else. Here, I mean, I wouldn't say that you have to, like, you separate it out
Hmm.
throughout the whole build up from start to finish. The progression, everything was so well constructed. Every single thing, every
Hmm.
single second, every single beat was so well constructed that nothing felt out of place. No, not a single note jarring.
No, 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 no.
you know we keep mentioning that in certain tracks you feel there's disconnect, there's the segments don't really work together, the transitions don't really work together.
Hmm.
um, Feels jarring, the transition feels jarring. This was 9 minutes and not a
Single
single
bit.
break in the flow, right? And that's
Absolutely
the
not.
beauty. Notice how clarinet always starts
Mm-hmm.
So throughout this track, whenever clarinet starts playing, it starts playing very, very mildly, very
Mm-hmm.
low, and then builds up,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of when it starts, during the outro, in the middle part, in the first part. Whenever it happens very subtly, very slowly, very smoothly, and then builds up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that it doesn't feel, it wouldn't feel jarring.
Mm-hmm.
The bass we noticed in the end, I mean the bass is being played throughout,
Mm-hmm.
then it picks up.
Picks
The
up, yeah.
keys, the keys in the beginning, it's being played from the beginning, but
Mm-hmm.
then in the middle part, he changes the pitch of it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Builds up. This 9 minute track, the brilliance of it is, a 3 minute track you can do a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but in 9 minute track, the room for what you cannot do
No, yeah, 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 yeah.
is
That's true.
like, right, the room for
Absolutely.
error, the room for you what you cannot do, right? Breaks, errors, breathes,
Mm-hmm.
breathing. Even, I mean, Jalal Bhai is playing flute.
Mm-hmm.
Idris is playing
Clarinet.
clarinet. Even a break for a long breathe wouldn't work,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Yeah, and I think when we talk about the instrumental bit of this particular track, I may be completely wrong, but the clarinet in the beginning is playing the main melody, but it suddenly switches. I mean, clarinet was doing so much throughout this particular track, playing so many roles. I felt that since this is a poem about, I mean, the uncertainty of river is also somehow depicted in this particular poetry. I felt that the clarinet was just kind of wind blowing throughout this particular track. And I mean, rivers itself are very beautiful, but at the same time, they're scary as well. They are calming and attractive in appearance, but with the flowing water and reflection of surrounding scenery, it always sometimes feels that there is some storm hidden in it. And that's what the poetry was trying to communicate in this particular track as well. You come across the turbulent times within your life, and you are just kind of hoping that you somehow find the way through it. And
Absolutely.
the way it has been composed and sung, I mean, we you mentioned about Boga. What I loved about Boga's singing was that he was changing emotion, the dynamic of his voice throughout the particular track, just
So effortlessly,
so
so
effortless.
naturally.
He was just on occasions he was just being so innocent, and on the next in the same verse he would just transition from innocence to like pleading, to just asking, just show me the way where I could just go. So this is basically his
It
masterclass.
reminds me of Jorargan,
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
folks from
mm.
Jorargan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It feels like he has training in theater.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm, yeah.
in a
It definitely
heartbeat,
feels like.
he can switch his whole aura.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, as you were mentioning that about the river, you are entering river. It can be very playful. It can be very,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable. It can bring you a lot of joy, but also there's a lot of uncertainty hidden in it.
Uncertainty,
So
yeah.
you go further, and then it can become very quickly scary.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That it can sweep you away.
Yeah.
And the emotions, at one instance he has this whole innocence in his voice, in his eyes, in his
Yeah,
face,
yeah,
and suddenly his eyes goes
yeah,
like scared for his life,
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
he's wailing, right? And this is the magic, this is the performance
Yeah.
that translates. So even if you are not watching this video,
Hmm.
in audio this would come out. You
Absolutely.
would feel that in the audio, right? And
Absolutely.
that's the magic, that's the quality. I mean,
Absolutely.
quality of production, we don't even have to mention it. The quality of lighting, the lighting itself, right? It's
Oh,
beautiful lighting. Beautiful. What aura it was creating, what vibe it was creating, right?
yeah.
But regardless of everything, visuals, set design, arrangement, and the the performances, right? And these performances will stay.
Mm-hmm.
These video will wither. These
Mm-hmm.
videos will, with time, they might wither, right?
Absolutely.
People would remember the performances, the audio quality, and brilliance, absolute brilliance. Arrangement wise, arrangement wise, this goes right up there with Pratna.
Prarthana. I was going
Maybe,
to say
maybe,
Prarthana.
maybe, maybe a bit more. Right?
Yeah.
Pratna was in his first season. The second was the second track Pratna, right?
Second track,
And
yeah.
that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
this is where I latched onto Bangla
Bangla
music
music.
and Coach to Bangla. This
Mm-hmm.
is where we latched onto
Mm-hmm.
Bangla music
Mm-hmm.
because that was one track that got us hooked to Bangla.
Yeah,
That okay, they
that's
can do
true.
this magic. What else they can do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was all in arrangement,
Yeah,
all in arrangement, right? This is a bit notch above, if not the same,
yeah,
Pratna, right? I
absolutely.
mean, the advancements and audio quality from one season to another, from one year to another, is just mind-boggling already,
Mind-boggling,
right?
mind-boggling.
The
Yeah.
the 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 sound quality is just more engulfing.
Mm-hmm.
You can totally feel that if you listen to the those tracks, even listen to Pratna and this one.
Yep,
Yeah,
the soundscape has definitely been notches above as well. I completely would resonate. Um, I was thinking the same thing that in Prarthana, because we, as someone who couldn't understand the language, we were hooked by the composition of Prarthana, and we want to listen to Bangla music more. And this is definitely one of those tracks that, for me as well, it goes right up there with Prarthana. Okay.
absolutely. This particular track, there are some tracks which people they I mean it's a cliche when say that some sort of art is devoid of borders,
Mm-hmm.
devoid of barriers,
Mm-hmm.
language agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is one of them. This is
Hands
one of
down.
them.
Yeah.
You present it to anyone in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this would communicate everything very clearly.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. But yeah, I think it is again one of the overwhelming experiences that we have so far with
Absolutely. So all the tracks have been overwhelming so far. Bono Baby,
Bono
right?
BB.
Then we have Diora was very overwhelming.
Hmm.
I still couldn't digest it. This one is overwhelming, but in a very digestible way.
Hmm.
You could totally absorb it every single second. 10 minutes of it,
Hmm.
and it's so digestible. It's so absorbable.
Hmm.
That's the magic of this track. I mean, I am in awe.
Yeah, you're forgetting Dara Le Duare, which is I think probably your personal
Sure,
favorite of the
sure,
season.
sure. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this one, the first message I got as soon as this was released was Ahmad telling me, "Man, chill road level stuff," and this shows the standards are so high.
Mm,
The bar was set so high
that's true.
that we measure by you know how good is it from Chilter to Prarthana, and
Yeah,
the scales have shifted. Okay.
absolutely. All right, let's conclude it here
Yeah,
then.
absolutely.
And we thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, we have listened to it a lot of times before reviewing this particular track. As soon as it was dropped, I think we both listened to it instantly, as we always do with any Coke Studio Bangla track. So we'll be waiting for the next track, but as Haris mentioned at the beginning of the track, we probably would not be able to review it instantly because this time we see that there's a pattern that the tracks are releasing more frequently in every couple of weeks. So as we would be returning back by end of June, so you could expect slight delay there as well. But we'll try to make up for it afterwards, hopefully by being more frequent in our review videos. But thank you so much once again for all your support and love that you have shown, and we cannot really cannot thank you enough for that. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.